Hey church, today we are celebrating what God has done in the lives of those that have just completed Rooted. Twice a year here at South Hills, we offer something called Rooted. What is it? It's a 10-week journey that connects people with God, the church, and their purpose. It's a big step and a big deal for somebody to commit and complete the Rooted journey. Why? Because we know God moves and transforms us when we courageously step out and open more aspects of our lives to Him. Now, you may be one of our newer campuses where Rooted hasn't taken place yet, or simply you haven't been through Rooted yourself. Not to worry, it's coming around the corner in the new year. When registration opens, be sure to sign up. What I would love for all of us to do today is continue celebrating the work that God has done and is doing in our church family, just like it says in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 11. Therefore, encourage one another and build each other up, just as in fact you are doing. Congratulations to all of you who have gone through the Rooted process and completed it. It's a process that is not easy, but is extremely beneficial to your spiritual journey and your relationship with God. I want to encourage you one more time to continue to be a part of this if you haven't done so already.
I can quit whenever I want. I wouldn't even call my thing an addiction. It's just something I do. And it relaxes me. It's not like it's hurting anyone. Is it the best thing for me? Maybe not. But I can quit whenever I want.
When we're talking about addiction, and this has been a very challenging series, and I've had some great conversations with some of you. And it made me think, I can actually, when I was preparing for this message, I kind of closed my eyes and I kind of remembered this moment. You have that bump. I'm not going to be a kid anymore. And the way hockey. So I told them both. I said, you know, Halloween's coming up. And I want to be Randy Macho Man Savage, the Macho Man, right? And I even saw the costume. It had like a picture of like this T-shirt with like all these muscles and like a headband. And you could do the fake beard. And I want to be the Macho Man. I told him, don't forget, Halloween's coming. Okay, we'll get it. And so finally, it's Halloween day. And I called them. Busy with it. They worked very hard. And I said, it's Halloween, and all the other kids already have their stuff. And I'm so sorry. What do you want? Let me write it down. It's Randy. Not that hard. Greatest wrestler right now, other than Hulk Hogan. So she comes home and she said, sweetheart, I'm sorry. I went to the store. They don't have any. I felt very ridiculous asking, do you have Macho Man? And it felt weird for me asking that, but I think that. Because, well, I got you Mickey. You could be Mickey Mouse. Okay, Mickey Mouse and Randy Savage, they're a little different, okay? Okay, fine, candy's candy, whatever. Open the bag, and then I'm like, Mom, this is not Mickey. It's Minnie. I can't go out and be Minnie. She goes, sweetheart, I am so sorry. I've been working so hard. This is ridiculous. And she goes, honey, you know why we work so hard? We want to give you everything you want and need and everything else. And I remember going, you know what? I just don't even want to go anymore. And I went into my room and I'm like, my childhood is now over. Like, this is it. I'm never going to go trick-or-treating again. This is done. I'm going to go out being Minnie Mouse. This is not the way I wanted to go out. I wanted to go out with cool costumes. I don't want to go out this way. This is how it's supposed to end. Now, my parents loved us. They were extremely we think addiction is just drugs and alcohol, and it is not. It is anything you're overly obsessed with and you're not really caring about what it's doing to other people. That's the problem. And that's what we're really not seeing. See, my parents weren't addicted to drugs or alcohol, but they needed the success that this was all their focus was on that. All their focus was on that. What I was going through. You know, a lot of times I think we like to justify it even as we get older. We just say, well, you know, I want to go to Paris. So kids, family, we're going to go to Paris for 2 weeks. But it means I'm not going to have to work more hours and I'm not going to be able to see your Little League game or school plays because I have to work more because you want to go to San Diego. But, you know, I can't do that. Or, you know what? You like the Lakers, right? Well, Daddy's got to, you know, get season tickets because I want you to have those season tickets, but it means I'm not going to be around as much. No, I could watch the Lakers on TV, just be here, you know? Or, you know, sometimes you get so occupied in getting the attention of somebody else outside of the people that are there with you that you're not even knowing that you're not paying attention to them. You're paying attention to some other, trying to get some validation from them, and they don't feel that they're cared for or wanted. Now, here's the thing, guys. A lot of times, those relationships don't come back. And what we do is we end up getting our kids being carbon copies of us. There's an old song that was, some of you may know, it's called Cats in the Cradle, Cat Stevens. Anybody know that song? I'm not going to play it. I'm certainly not going to sing it. But I am going to read the words to it. And I want to see if this sounds familiar to any of you. Because it does for me. My child arrived just the other day. He came to the world in an unusual way, but there were planes to catch and bills to pay. He learned to walk while I was away. And he was talking before I knew it, and as he grew, he'd say, I'm going to be like you, Dad. You know I'm going to be like you. When you coming home, Dad? I don't know when, but we'll get together then. You know we'll have a good time then. My son turned 10 just the other day, and he said, thanks for the ball, Dad. Come on, let's play. Can you teach me to throw? I said, not today. I got a lot to do, he'd say. That's okay. As he walked away, smiled and never dimmed. He said, I'm going to be like him. Yeah, I'm going to be like him. When you coming home, Dad? I don't know when, but we'll get together then. He came from college just the other day, so much like a man, I just had to say, son, I'm proud of you. Can you sit for a while? He shook his head and said with a smile, what I'd really like, Dad, is to borrow the car keys. See you later. Can I have them, please? I've long since retired. My son's moved away. I called him up just the other day. I said, I'd like to see you if you don't mind. He said, I'd love to, Dad. And as I hung up the phone, it occurred to me he'd grown up just like me. My boy was just like me. Does that sound familiar to anybody? I mean, maybe you did it. Maybe your parents did it to you. And those don't always come back, you guys. Those don't always. When you get so hyper-focused on something, those people around you that are getting the shrapnel of that, our connections fall apart because of how intently pursuing our thing causes others. And this is all unintentional, guys. Nobody ever sets out this. You'll hear it. But I will always tell you, and I believe them when they say, I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to hurt you. They're right. They don't want to hurt you. They have zero intention of hurting you. But here is the ugly truth. They're not trying to hurt you. They're just not thinking about you. That's the hard truth. I hurt me. I know. Hurt me. I know. But you're just not. Pastors, have you seen pastors' kids? I mean, a lot of them are crazy, right? Why? Because the people of church, they don't have time for their kids. They're not interested in being there all the time because the congregation, guys. The pursuit of our obsession to the damage we're doing to others. This affects all of us, guys. You know, going back to my parents that Halloween night when I was 12, honestly, my life would have been different, truly, if they would have just come upstairs. Sorry. Like we didn't even think about it. You know, we blew it and we're sorry. But that didn't happen. What I got was, we're working hard. So and so I would have just come clean. Just say, sorry. Like I said, guys, everything that is that we're going to go through is everything that you're so for us, the overarching thing that we have to remember today isn't that are we going to do this? Yes, just so you know, you're going to do this. You at some point are going to get so obsessed with something that you're not going to pay attention to the people closest to you. That's going to happen. All of us, it's going to happen to all of us. What we're talking about today is how do you make that right? What does that look like? To take others into consideration. 1 Corinthians 10:24, it says this: no one should seek their own good. Think about yourself. You're supposed to think, what I'm doing, how is that affecting others? That's what addiction boils down to, guys. It's that you're not just hurting yourself, you're hurting other people. And the Bible's clear about this. So for me, one of my biggest pet peeves, guys, I'm telling you right now, it's something that'll drive me nuts, is when Christians tell other people, God just wants you to be happy. So hot load of garbage. It's just not true. What if heroin makes me happy? What if sleeping with every girl I see makes me happy? What if spending other people's money makes me happy? It's just not true. God doesn't want you to just be happy. He wants you to care about what you're doing and how is that going to affect the people around you. And that's really what we're talking about, okay? Remember this as Christians. Centering your life around Jesus means paying attention to how the things you say and do impact the people around you. You cannot follow Jesus and be inconsiderate of others. I'm going to say the last part again. You cannot follow Jesus and be inconsiderate of others. Let that one sink in. When you want to fight about whatever, politics or religion or whatever. You can't follow Jesus and be inconsiderate of others. Look what it says here in John. Whoever claims to love God hates his brother or sister is one. But you hate your brother or sister, you're a liar. That's what it's saying right here. For whoever does not love their brother or sister whom they have seen cannot love God whom they have not seen. It's very practical, okay? So many people think like it's just a matter of what you say. It's not. It's how is what you're doing affecting other people? In other words, the more we love God, the more loving we ought to treat others. And I think that we need to make sure that we understand that because I have seen a lot of Christians use God's name to be mean and cruel to other people or judgmental to other people when they're not really looking at it from the right lens, okay? So imagine for a second if we actually treated people the way God asks us to treat it, what that would even do to our own relationships. But they don't deserve it, We'll get to that. But here's the thing. Where do these New Testament authors get this from? They get it from this is how he lived. You want to look at Jesus. He's God. He's a blueprint. He'll tell you exactly what he is and how he treats people. Now, you can say, but I've got this person that annoys me so much because of their posts or because of what they said or how they treated me. And if Jesus was here, he wouldn't get along with my brother or sister. Jesus treats the absolute hated of the tax collectors. These guys were so hated. And he says here, Jesus enters Jericho and was passing through. A man was there by the name of Zacchaeus. He was a chief tax collector and was wealthy. He wanted to see who Jesus was, but because he was short, he could not see over the crowd. So he ran ahead and climbed a sycamore fig tree to see him since Jesus was coming that way. So if you've ever been to Sunday school, this is the same Zacchaeus. He was a wee little man. Anybody remember that song? No? Nobody knows Sunday school? Okay. So here's the thing. Zacchaeus is short and he's a tax collector. And I want to make something extremely clear right now. It is not a sin to be short. Can I get an amen, Vic? Amen. All right. Thank you. Not a sin to be short, people. All right. Now, here's what's happening. The Romans, he is basically essentially stealing and treating his fellow Jewish people horribly. Okay, so he's what happens is that tax collectors collected a little extra on the side. As long as they didn't really know what they would do. what they would do, they would money to put a little more coin in their pocket. So already these people hated them. And what they would also do is that they would get Roman soldiers to be their muscle. So what they would do is so a tax collector would come in and would say, you know what, I know you got some more money, Ashley. I know it's under your bed. So I'm going to have these guards flip open your mattress and get what's under your bed. That's how awful these guys were, right? And they were doing it to their own fellow Jewish brothers and sisters. So awful. They were absolutely despised. They were hated for it. Have you ever wondered why Zacchaeus was a tax collector? They absolutely hate it. He hate it. Why would anybody do that? For Zacchaeus, he was short. Maybe he wasn't very good at sports. Maybe he wasn't very good at doing manly things. Maybe his parents didn't really look at him as a manly man and he was insecure. Maybe he had a hard time making friends. Maybe he got picked on a lot. Who knows? He was good with numbers. He was good with money. Maybe he was good at influencing people. So Rome saw him and they gave him attention. Even though these guys were absolutely terrible tyrants, at least they're giving me attention. And how often do we do that, guys? You know, if we know a job or a relationship is super toxic and unhealthy, it's like, I know it's bad for me. I know it's terrible for me, but at least I'm getting some attention. At least I don't have to spend Christmas by myself. I know he or she treats me badly. I know that they don't do the nicest things, but at least it's somebody that cares. How many people have fallen into that? Well, that's really where Zacchaeus is. I know that the Romans are corrupt and overtaxing these people. I get it. I know that this is totally immoral. I get it. But at least somebody cares. At least I'm getting some attention. So for Zacchaeus, you could make a few arguments. He's got a few addictions: power, money, achievement, attention. But he would actually do anything to keep it going. But so look what it says here in Luke 19. When Jesus reached the spot, he looked up and said to him, Zacchaeus, come down immediately. I must stay at your house today. So he came down at once and welcomed him gladly. All the people saw this and began to mutter, he has gone to be a guest with a sinner. Now, I want to paint a picture for you guys. Everybody, you don't have to close your eyes if you want to, you don't want to, but like you all think of this thing where you're embarrassed about, there's a sin you struggle with, nobody knowing this is a terrible in the middle of whatever that sin is, and then imagine Jesus going through a crowd and saying, you, come with me. Are you mad at me? No. Do you know how terrible? You know, if this got out, I'd be humiliated. I get it. Come sit with me. That's really approve. When you're having dinner with someone, that was Jesus' way of saying, I this guy, I want everybody to know it, and I'm accepting this guy. And that was driving everybody absolutely crazy. Somebody messes up, go away. Then when you're better, come back, and then we'll show everybody how good you are. Jesus actually does it the opposite way. He says, come to me at your lowest. I'm going to take the lowest. The whole rules. What is PR, what that's going to look like. Stop you. And I want everybody to know it. Okay. Look how Paul phrases, or do you show contempt for the riches of his kindness, forbearance and patience, not realizing that God's kindness is intended to lead you to repentance. Okay? Why does he repent? Why does Zacchaeus repent? Because he's shown love, not judgment. We see evidence of that here in Luke 19:8. But Zacchaeus stood up and said, Lord, look, Lord, here and now I give half my possessions to the poor, and if I've cheated anyone out of anything, I will pay back 4 times the amount. Do you seriously think that would have happened if Jesus said, close the door and said, Zacchaeus, you little moron, you deserve to be short. You know, what is your problem? You are an idiot. Every bad person you've talked about, because I'm God, and I can't believe you did this. Do you really think Zacchaeus would have gone, okay, I'll do whatever you say? He might have out of fear, but it wouldn't have lasted. But because God showed him love, he was like, I want a piece of this love. I'll do whatever it takes. I don't care. I am totally in. That's what I want to be. See, this teaches us, guys, the more we get to know the real Jesus, the more he loves you. Okay, that's why he says, I'll give half my money to the poor. I don't care about money anymore. Why? Because he felt the love of Jesus. He's like, I want that in droves because I can't buy that. All this other stuff that I bought is meaningless to me right now. I just want to be good with you, Jesus. Now, we like general people. In other words, you're going to hear this. I'm for love. Have you heard that from people? I don't know what that means necessarily. I'm just for love. Okay? Okay, I don't know. It's so broad, and I think we like the broad. I think we like the generic. I don't think we want to put specific things to it, because when you put a specific thing to it, now you got to do something about it. But when you say I love, I just want to love, okay, great. But what does that look like, though? How? When? Where? I mean, here's what I'm saying. Everyone wants to do generic good. It's specific good that's challenging, especially when it involves you owning and making amends for specific bad that you did, okay? So, for example, the holidays buy gifts and for foster families and all that stuff. I think that's really cool. I'm going to do that. I love doing that. I love all that represents. But if we're being honest, for some of us, it is easier to go feed the homeless than to invite that certain somebody to Thanksgiving dinner. It's easier to do it because I don't really know you, you don't know me, but you've hurt me, and now you're out. And I don't want anything to do with you anymore because that's just too hard. That's where the specific good comes in. So Zacchaeus, he feels the love of Jesus, and he gets super specific. He says, I'm going to give back 4 times the amount. He doesn't say I'm going to give back some. I'm going to itemize. He's good with numbers. He can say, I'm going to itemize everything that I've sold, and I'll give it back evenly. He says, I'll give it back 4 times the amount. He gets super specific, and what he's saying is, I messed up, and I'm going to make amends for it. People try so hard to be perfect. Nobody is. You're going to mess up. Stop beating yourself up for messing up and start looking at question. Who do you need to have a talk with? Is there somebody in your mind right now that you're like, man, I need to have a talk with that person? Think about that for a second, guys. Seeing life from someone else's perspective does not happen automatically, guys. It requires intentionality. It requires intentionality, really. Does the Bible really say that, James? Luke 6:31, do to others as you would have them do to you. Okay? Guys, I have seen people who hated each other, who said all these bad things to each other. I have seen it. Joy, holding a grudge, and judging. More victim. I got the wrong end of the stick. It's all bad. You know, I've seen those people throw pity parties for themselves, and then just drive more into this dark depression instead of going, you know what? When you do, guys, there's freedom in it. There's absolute freedom in all of that, guys. It's amazing the stories we tell when we try to justify how we treat other people. Well, you don't understand. They did wrong to me. Did you hear what they gossip about? Guys, I'm a pastor that's online, okay? So anybody can see it. And we've had people literally watching this service from around the world. Times I've gotten notes about, death is on your feet. Death is on your feet. I saw people without masks. Everybody that was unmasked and got COVID, it's your problem. You know, I heard what you said about this or about that, and all these people have some issues with me. Okay. Does it mean I go look for them and fight them? No. I always say the same thing. I'm so sorry you feel that way. I've let it go. If you want to sit there and complain about everything, go ahead. I'm not going to join you for that. I let it go. Oh, I'm sorry you feel that way. I hope you find a church near you. Okay? Die. Justify your stuff, guys. Don't. Don't say, well, they deserve me going off on them. They deserve me treating them like garbage. No, if you now this, making amends is about it's not about retribution, guys. Is this easy? Absolutely not. This is so unbelievably hard. I got people in my mind that when I was preparing for this message, I was like, I cannot call that person. No way. That person, no. I'll call somebody else, but not that person. Hebrews says, best, but God disciplines us that we may share in his holiness. Discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. Later on, however, it produces the harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it. Now, that is the NIV version. The James version of this passage, thumb scraped and call this person, right? I don't want to do this at all because I don't think they deserve it, right? Then I start playing God, right? Oh, I'm really good. They didn't do anything. I didn't do anything wrong. But it's not about what I want your apology. I want your apology. Okay, apology. Okay, I want your apology. Okay. It's about what it's going to do for you. It's what this whole thing's about. So remember this, guys. Training yourself to see the world and treat others differently is a painful process, but everything you want is on the other side. I know that it's hard having some of those conversations with people that have hurt you or mistreated you or have been unfair to you. But when you address that, guys, what's on the other side of that, even though it's super hard, what's on the other side of that is peace. Finally, some peace. Is confidence. Is love, is hope, right? If you know anybody that's holding a grudge, I will tell you that you're secure. You're like, I like who I am. You don't like it, too bad, but I like who I am. You know, I'm going to do my you don't know to say God, right? And I think that's where we get it mixed up here, guys. I think we think of humility as saying, well, I'm going to be humble. I'm going to live humble because God asked me to live humbly, and he says he opposes the proud and gives grace to the humble. I did a real good thing, right, God? And then I apologize. I apologize to you. I am all clean. God's like, you're half right. How about the person you hurt? Well, hold on. I don't know about that. I mean, I'm humbling myself before you, and I'm telling you all this stuff. What about that person that you hurt, though? I don't know about that. We're looking at it through a very finite lens there. God's saying, if you really want freedom, security, peace for a change, sleep 8 hours a night at least, instead of thinking of all the people that wronged you. Go make amends with that person. At least try and be specific. Matthew 5:23 says, therefore, if you are offering your gift at the altar and there remember that your brother or sister has something against you, leave your gift there in front of the altar. Go first and be reconciled to them, then come and offer. I think when we see addiction and we think, okay, stop doing this thing, but it's really not that at all. It's like I'm trying to all of us learn together. How do we learn when we do screw up? How do we learn how to build those relationships? Shame and the guilt that looks like. Think about this for a second, guys. You can actually close your eyes if you want to. You don't have to. But every one of us has someone that has hurt us, that has talked about us, that has gossiped about us, that has intentionally tried to hurt us. They have intentionally tried to make our lives more difficult. They abuse us and say, maybe it was a friend, maybe whatever. But I think all of us know someone that's totally screwed us over intentionally, and it hurt. Think about that person calling you today and saying, I just left church, and I want to tell you, I'm sorry. I was wrong when I hurt you. I would be like, church isn't what I thought about at all. That's awesome. People do that at church? I want to go. God does. I thought God thought God just judged people all the time. I didn't know they do that. I mean, think about that for a second. What if that person said, I'm sorry. I was wrong. I'm leaving church and I want you to know that right now. What it would do to not only you, but what it would do to them as well. Here is a very hard challenge that I'm going to give you guys, and it is very hard. But identify someone your behavior has negatively impacted and tell them you're sorry and ask, how can you make it right? I'm going to step away so everybody could take a picture of this. Because right now you're going, can you get to the next point? Try this. All that stuff. Again, it could be your kids, your parents, your coworkers, sibling, spouse, whatever. What does it look like in your life? Well, they're not going to take it, and they're just going to tell me to like kite, and they're going to hang up on me. Remember this, guys. I'm going to say that again. The outcome is not within your control. The action is, and that's what's important. The outcome is not remotely in your control, but the action. This does not give anybody the permission to continue to abuse you. So if somebody has abused you and they called you up and said sorry, accept it. That's great. Or if you want to do that to somebody else, but just know it doesn't give anybody a license to continue any kind of abuse. So if somebody's going to continue to treat you poorly or whatever, I'm not going to be here for that. I've already tried, but I'm not going to be here to have you hurt me anymore. Okay? Now here's the deal, guys. If you are a part of this church, I want to make something super clear. And I want to make something super clear online if you're watching online. South Hill County doesn't exist anymore. It's not a church anymore. South Hill, South County is gone. You, founders, you're part of a new church plant, okay? So when you think about this, when you think of church planters, I said this during the week, I think we think of these mega Christians. You don't want me as a church planter. No. You don't even know what I was up to even yesterday, okay? So you don't, yes, you. We want you to be part of this church plant. This is who we are. We are a collection of messy people. We've loved people, we've also pissed people off. We've been there for people, and there's times where we weren't. We are messy individuals that for whatever reason, God's put together and said, I want you to go build a church. And that's what we're going to do. You're church planters. You are planting a church in San Clemente. So South County till San Clemente is meeting at the heart. December 8th is our dream night, and we will have it at our new building. I don't care if it's all rubble at that point. It doesn't matter to me. People are like, you can't have it there. I'm having it there anyway. Stop me. Well, it's insurance. I don't care. We're having it there. December 8th, that's where we're going to be. You'll get a glimpse of our new building. You'll see what it looks like. You'll be in there. But that's where we're going. Now, guys, if we're going to build a new church, don't you think we've got to side on love? I mean, guys, nobody's a church from an unloving person in the church. And I've never had anybody complain, gripe, be mean, gossip, judge everybody. Hey, you should check out my church. Oh, I can't wait. Sounds awesome. Gosh, that's great. Right? No, that's it. We are going to be who God's asked us to be. Yes, we're imperfect. Yes, we're messy. But we can love. We can choose to do that. Okay? We can labor. We can not judge. It's not your job. Your job not to change anybody's life. That's God's job. Jesus did with Zacchaeus. He did not judge him. He introduced him to a. That's what we will do. Do that. So instead of doing that thing that's hurting you, there's a better live, and it's through the hope of Jesus. And it's really great. But if you're stubborn, and if you say, you know what, Pastor, nope, I'm going to hold this minute. I'm going to judge people that aren't as spiritual. I'm going to do all of that stuff. Just remember, guys, when somebody asks you and you're doing that, where you go to church, they won't even know. No. So But here's the thing. What we're going to do is we're going to extend that love, and they're going to go, man, I want to be part of that. Guys, that's what I want to be part of. I don't want to be part of a country club for a bunch of phony people or something else. I just want to be around regular people who I know I love and that love me. I was telling us this to some people this morning. We know Sunday's coming, and people are going to be there to I love you. Some church, I lump in there, and I lump in there, and I lump in there, and I lump out, and they're not. If you're watching online and you're not here, I recognize that you're not here. I know who you are. We know who you are. Something like that. Guys, God has literally said, it's time. After almost 5 years, church, I've opened up the doors to a beautiful place in Talega, San Clemente. You have 11,000 square feet. Be planting, guys. It's going to be planting, guys. It's going to take us doing it first so that we can introduce others. What's your marketing strategy? Us. You're it. Tag. You're a church planner now. Okay? And I couldn't think of anything when this ends, and it will. But when this life ends and I'm closing my eyes, reminiscing about my life, I'd be like, I helped start church. Church. What I was singing. And I helped start it years ago. I want to be part of that, and I want to invite you to be part of that as well. So December 8th, guys, I'll give you all the information. Let's pray. Father, I know that we've all been hurt here, God. We've all been hurt, and Jesus, I just pray that we think about those people that have hurt us, and that we are making. God, help us to own what we need to own. Say sorry for what we need to say sorry for, and just live in freedom, God. Jesus, you're clearly doing something with this church. You clearly want us here. Otherwise, there's no reason why we would have said, find so do whatever you want to do with us. We're here to serve you. All of us are. And we just thank you for the opportunity that we get to be part of something super cool that doesn't happen all the time. We get to build your church. And so we're thankful for that opportunity. Even knowing our worst, God, you still picked us to the church. And we thank you for that. It's in your name. Amen.
South Hills Church, I just want to take a moment and say thank you for watching our service online. Whether you're watching it for the first time or you're watching it again because you enjoyed the service so much from the weekend, I'd like to take a moment and dive into our giving. Every week we give people the opportunity to give back and give to the local church so that God can continue to bless your lives and bless your finances. Here at South Hills, we believe that everything comes from God. We believe that He's the one that chose us and brought us into this world, gave us our gifts and talents and abilities. And I just want you to know that when we give, we are giving back what God has already given to us. If you've ever seen any of our envelopes at a South Hills campus, you'll see on there that it says, every week at South Hills, your generosity is giving people the opportunity to live a better story. And there's a scripture on there in Matthew chapter 6, verse 21 that says, where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. So I want to encourage you today to click down below and set up your giving, whether it's for the first time or whether you're doing reoccurring giving. We have 4 ways to give here at South Hills. 1, you can do it in person at any of our campuses through an envelope. Or 2, you can actually text any amount that you would like to 84321. And the 3rd way is to download our Church Center app. I encourage you to do this one because the Church Center app gives you opportunity to stay connected with our church and your campuses. It's a great tool and resource for you to know what's going on. And the 4th way to give is to give online. You can go to southhills.org/give and you can set up your giving there. Whether you're a guest of our church or whether you are a member of our church, whether you simply just like to watch our services, I encourage you to trust God with your finances so that He can bless and anoint your finances and you can be trusting God in this journey of living life to the fullest. I love you and thank you for watching our online service today.